Okay, we are back. Just waiting on have some. I don't know if yep, a little bit of delay there, but whatever. We're back. Just waiting on some food to cook. I just threw in the oven, but figured I could get through a couple sets that we don't have a whole lot of cards of here. So a revised was that was kind of a marathon of 1,000 something cards here. Stronghold, don't have a whole lot of cards here. Uh, Alliances, a bit more than Stronghold, but still not a ton of cards. Let's go ahead and take a look. So Stronghold here, we'll probably do that first. Here's the rares that are worth something, right? Mox Diamond, Silver Queen. The chances of somebody throwing that card haul, I can't even imagine that any of those are going to be in there. But I mean, it's always possible. Like some of these other cards might be in there. I mean, there's a number of them. They're over $1 for rares. Let's move down to uncommons. So uncommons, I mean, constant miss, $20 for an uncommon. Primal Rage, Bottomless Pit, Hearthstone, Vat of Blossoms, Crystalline Silver, right? So there's silvers were all the way back in Stronghold, so well, Silver Queens in here, so obviously they're back here. Um, so there's 7 uncommons. They're worth more than $1 right now. I mean, there's Tortured Existence, $5.60 for a common. I mean, maybe there's some in there. I haven't really looked yet. We'll find out. So I'm going to go ahead and start scanning some of these, and let's see if there's anything worth anything in here. So Silver Wyvern. I mean, first up, we have rares. Four rares. Um, they're only 54 cents though. Kind of makes sense. It's eh, the 5 mana card. It's a 4/3, which isn't great. Flying, which is kind of good, but and the ability on that's not bad with the whole. You can make something that targets just it, target something else instead. Like that kind of sounds like it would be a good thing. So evacuation, if it was 9th edition, would be worth something. Maybe it's worth more as Stronghold even. So $1.91. What was his 9th edition? $1.51. So it is worth a tiny bit more in Stronghold, which is nice. I mean, kind of makes sense. It's black border. So I am kind of surprised that we're pulling some stuff out just in the first few that are, you know, something that's worth the money. I went mute for just a bit. I have someone else is here walking in, so they might make some noise. So go ahead. Just go ahead and mute, and I'll unmute if I have anything that's worth more than $1. Okay. So just pulled out a intruder alarm. It's a rare card worth $4. So and 3 copies. That's pretty nice. Um, you see, unlike revised, I have not gone through and made sure that I have all the copies of these. So, mana leak. Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 copies. Nice. Just checking. 6th edition shows 6th edition symbol on those, which is good because I have some in here that chronicles and stuff is going to be fun. Uh, just pulled out Rolling Stones. $1.47 per copy, 2 copies. Well, looks like that's uncommon, and I have two copies of it, $2.49 each. That's nice. One of the cards we were looking for. I don't think there's going to be anything else here, but that's not Spike Feeder. It's not actually $1.85 because it's Stronghold. So $48 worth of cards, 100 cards. So that's actually pretty good for Stronghold. Now, obviously, it's because we have a few cards that are worth money, but go and mute again and then get these in sleeves. Yeah, so we've got 8 cards that are worth more than $1 here. I mean, so 3 copies of Intruder, an Evacuation, 2 Rolling Stones, and a Heartstone. Yeah, I'm thinking just probably somebody went through these. They weren't worth more than $1 at the time because they're all only $1, $2. None of these are over 5. I'd be surprised if they were worth anything when they actually got donated. So they're just worth something because I've sat on them for years. So probably. So, but it's kind of interesting to see. Um, okay, so next up we have alliances. We're going to go ahead and search for that set. See what's worth anything here. So, like, there's a lot of lands in this one that are worth something. So, Lake of the Dead being at the top, Helm of Obedience. There's a couple other Thawing Glaciers, Phyrexian Devourer, uh, the Scepter, Thought Lash, Diminishing Returns. Uh, you know, there's a few cards that are up here that are worth something, and we have a few more to go through than we did with Stronghold. So maybe we'll find some of those. Uncommons, obviously, Force of Will. This is alliances. That Force of Will, right? It's an uncommon card. It's the second most expensive card in alliances, despite being an uncommon. So kind of crazy. I mean, if you don't know much about Magic the Gathering, counter spells so you can counter somebody else's card. This is a lot of mana. 5 mana for a counter spell. Like you can get counter spells for 2 mana, 3 mana at the very most. A lot of them for 2. But with this, you can pay a life and remove a blue card from your hand instead of paying Force of Will's casting costs. Right? So even if you have no mana, even if it's turn 1 and it's the other player's turn, right? You can counter a spell that they're putting out. Um, Kind of interesting, just in a funny way, because I was watching something where um, somebody was playing original Magic according to the original rules, and it was like the former like chairman of or CEO of Magic the Gathering, and some guy who was a streamer who got him a bunch of cards from somebody who sells a whole bunch. And so they had $1 million worth of cards because original rules of Magic the Gathering, you could have more than 4 copies of card in your hand. So you could have 10 moxes, like mox whatever, mox pearl or whatever, for the blue mana, and you could have 7 Black Lotus, and you can have all these cards in your hand, in your deck, that you're limited in later versions of. And so the result, between you have Time Walk, you get another turn, Time Twister. Oh, if I run out of cards, I'll just have everybody shuffle their cards back into their deck and just keep on playing, type thing. Like, and so the idea is eventually you find your one card that deals damage, you play like Time Walk like 5 times or 7 times or whatever, 3/3 creature. Attack the other guy 7 times. He only has 20 life, you win. Right? And so kind of boring since the other player doesn't even get to play. It's kind of interesting though, is because like a Force of Will potentially would be a counter to that if you're sitting there, okay, it's my turn. I have a Force of Will, I have another blue card in my hand. I can block at least one card this person's trying to play. Right? So they start playing cards, they play their first brain or whatever allows them to draw 3 cards, right? Because they need to draw cards in order to keep on playing, and you just counter that. And well, if they don't have a second one, they didn't draw one, right? There were no mulligans in original, so like maybe you know because it's something you can play without any mana. Be interesting to see more cards that you could play without mana. I don't think there's a whole lot of them in Magic the Gathering, especially cards that can counter what somebody else is doing. So uh, I'd be shocked. So we talked about Force of Will and everything. That's a famous enough card. I will almost guarantee you there's no Force of Will card in here. I already looked through them when I was sorting them, kind of. If I'd seen a Force of Will, I probably would have recognized it and pulled it out myself. But there's some other uncommons here. Shield Spear, Limb, whatever's Vault, Limb, Duel's Vault, Elvish Spirit Guide, Nature's Chime, Pyrokinesis, Energy Arc, Burnout, right? So there's a few uncommons there were something. Let's get down here to, oh, well, there's Arcane Denial right at the top. I mean, that's common that's worth something, and that's only a common that's worth something. So we know we have something good in here. So let's go. You hear the cat? Georgia. Okay, Arcane Denial. $3.62. Two of those. And 3 of them. 4 of them. I mean, okay. Oh, wait. Sorry. I don't, I skipped a step. I want to go ahead and add this to a new collection called Stronghold. There we go. Now let's, I know someone's going, we slid that card and it dragged the other card across. You know what? Like, these got donated. I mean, look at that corner up there. Uh, I don't know if you can see it in the glare, like these corners and stuff. Like these are not, you know, if I ever sell they're not cards you're going to send to go get graded, right? They're pretty rough. kind of interesting that this Arcane Denial, they're the same card, just different artwork, right? But one of them's worth $3, the other one's worth two something. So, kind of interesting in that. This is another one of those decks with multiple artworks for the same card, right? Uh, okay, there's a fourth one of that one, and a fourth one of the other one. Library of Latinum, right? We had a Vault of whatever. Oh, nice. Okay, wait. 2, 3, 4, 5 of that artwork. I don't think I. Yeah, okay. That is the wrong set for that one. Still only 42 cents. Okay. Reprisal. Oh no. Oh no. 5, 6. Not a big fan of these multiple artworks because apparently when I sorted through these, I didn't really look at, hey, is the artwork the same for each of them? Right? Or do I have an issue where I have the same card with multiple ones? There's another one of these benthic explorers. Hailstorm. False demise. Yes, so we do have another one of those. So we have two. This is going to be a little bit ironic if our first cards that we look at are the only cards in here. The only things that are worth anything. Could be what happens. I mean, I'd be kind of surprised if they're the only ones. For a second, I saw that A, and I was like, "It's another arcane denial." Like that would be nice. 2, 3. But no, it's an awesome presence. You know what that kind of reminds me is the Dragon Ball Z dragon. I mean, it's obviously not, but just at first glance, It's like I was just watching Dragon Ball Super, uh, and so Shenron gets summoned to Jeskai, make a Super Saiyan God. You know, the first times you see Shenron, he's a huge, powerful creature that has an awesome presence. Did briefly. It's reconnecting. Okay, it looks like OBS reconnected. Might have missed Veteran's voice. It wasn't worth anything. They're not worth more than $1, so. Oh, there is another Arcane Denial. So we've got at least one more card that's in here that's decent. So let's see, was Nature's Blessing one of the? There's a lot of nature cards. Uh, no. Scars of the Veteran. What was this again? I remember reading this before. You may remove a white card in your hand from the game instead of paying Scars of the Veteran's casting cost, and then prevent up to 7 damage to target creature or player. For each 1 damage to a creature prevented by Scars of the Veteran, put a +0/+1 counter on that creature until end of turn, or at end of turn. Right, so I mean, definitely could be an interesting card. You know, stop damage, and then oh, now my card is super tough, right? So, and what do I have to pay for it? I just got rid of another white card. Um, Unfortunately, I think there's other cards that people could have in their Force of Will. So just counter whatever's dealing damage to my card or to me. Gorilla Shaman, come on. Nope. It's actually worth less money with the black border. You would think the black border would be worth more money. So, come on, Gorilla Berserker skin. Gift of the Woods. Here's a land. I mean, so we saw there were a lot of rare lands in this. This one though is not one of them. So here's Soul Grail. It's just I don't think it's as good as Soul Ring and a number of other cards. So you know, if you have options for what you're going to put in your hand or in your deck, there's better stuff to put in there. Another man. I feel like I'm starting to go crazy with the cards that are just duplicates of other cards. Like, do I have Like there's another false demise further down here. Not seeing anything. It's like, oh look, hey look. Let's at least get those false demises together because that's happened. How many times have I looked up false demise? Yeah. I mean, I've done reinforcements like 4 times. Stormcrow like 3 or 4 times. At least this time it's you know, not a single one of them. And we have the second artwork of Stormcrow. Storm Elemental. You would think suffocation. I mean, the problem is it has to be a red sorcery or instant that deals damage to you. 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. I mean, maybe someone would have kept this some point in their sideboard, right? If you're playing against a red player and you can switch up your deck in between rounds with them, you throw 4 suffocations in, and because you know that they're going to have sorceries or instants that deal damage to you, unless they switch them out. 5 copies of Undergrowth. I mean, 4 damage, and you 4 damage back to them, and you draw a card. That's pretty decent. A lot of gorillas in alliances. I mean, this isn't a gorilla creature, but it's Primitive Justice has a gorilla on it, which is kind of interesting. Well, I'm starting to think that Arcane Denial might have been the only card that we're going to see that's over $1 in here. Although I say that, and then I'm going to pull up something that's decent. Or not. Eh, never mind. Or I am. Energy Arc. Okay. This is $1. That's actually a pretty decent Energy Arc. Untap any number of target creatures. Those creatures neither deal nor receive damage in combat this turn. I mean, that actually seems really it's an instant. So I attack you on my turn. Your turn comes, you go, oh, I'm going to attack you and everything. I play Energy Arc, untap all my creatures to block, and not only can I block you, but none of my creatures take damage. Or if I really wanted to just mess with somebody, even if I have no creatures, okay, you tap all your creatures to attack me. I untap all your creatures. Now all your creatures don't deal damage. Because it doesn't say target creatures you control. I almost feel like I'm surprised that card's only $1. Um, maybe there's just something that's better out there. Maybe it doesn't. I mean, maybe there's something that only uses one blue or one plains or something weird. Uh, that's just a better card. Uh, but I would think that would just be funny to mess with people, right? Like, oh yeah, maybe it's banned. Maybe that's why. That could be what's going on. It's just banned in every version of playing World Magic the Gathering. We'll said World of Warcraft. Yeah, that Magic card's banned in World of Warcraft. Findhorn Druid. Another Scars of the Veteran. Yeah. So, I mean, once again, we've kind of shown, hey, what's being donated to Cartala that's worth money? Uh, Arcane Denial, apparently. That's what's being donated. 9 copies of it. But it's a common card, so I'm really curious. I'm going to pull this back up because I want to see what the rulings are. Okay, so it's not legal in a number in standard, modern, pioneer. It's legal in vintage. Uh, it's not legal in the pauper decks. It's legal in commander, dual commander, and commander. Wow. So energy art can target untapped creatures. The second part of the that okay, so it can even target untapped creature? I mean that just seems ridiculously overpowered. I mean, for one thing, you can pick and choose which creatures. So your opponent attacks you with, 5 creatures, and you're like, oh, I only have, 2 blockers, right? I'm going to pick these 3 that would deal combat damage to me and get past without being blocked. In this fourth one that I'm going to block with a 1/1 creature. That way my creature doesn't die. But I'm not going to pick this one that he attacked with, because I want my creature to be able to block that one. because I have a 3/3 creature and that's a 2/2, and so I'll kill one of his creatures, right? And his other 4 creatures deal no combat damage. Like, and oh, by the way, I untap some of my cards too that maybe I'm not doing anything with. That just yeah, that seems yeah, that seems like a really good card that should see more action than it does. I guess it assumes that you're. I mean, I guess even if you're playing blue and white, if you're playing with creatures, if you're playing with creatures and counter spells, um, there's a lot of white creatures that can benefit from untapping. Some blue creatures that benefit from untapping, where you know it's kind of interesting. So okay, so we sleeve these up. $52.81. Only 156 cards, but I mean, let's be honest. It's the fact that I pulled out 9 copies of Arcane Denial right off the bat, and uh, you know, $3 for these ones, $2 for these ones. That's over half the price here. Just in these cards. I mean, I don't know. Maybe when they were donated, they weren't worth money. Maybe somebody went through, pulled out all the commons and uncommons, and just or all the uncommons and rares. Didn't realize there's one common card in alliances that's worth money. So, but that is that's what we're finding. I mean, how much of an expert on Magic the Gathering cards do you have to be? I mean, I guess you trigger it's 2 mana that counters, so yes, it's good, but I think that's the only way most people that are fairly new to Magic the Gathering would know that maybe that's a decent card. So, uh, yep. So that is the stream. Where are these ones that we just did? Alliances and Stronghold. I mean, so 2 smallest sets that I have here. You know, blow your mind a bit. The 18 unlimited cards that I had are worth more than the Alliances and Stronghold cards. But, I mean, it's only 156 Alliance cards, 105 Stronghold cards. So, pretty strong for how few cards. Uh, but at the same time, that also tells you not a lot of that set being donated. I mean, when you're talking about 20 or 30,000 cards, there were 100 Stronghold cards that were donated, and only two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 of those were worth anything, right? Like, that's not a whole lot. So, yeah, maybe those were only worth, but probably those were only worth something because they've sat in my closet for years after I picked them up and they weren't worth anything when they were donated. So, I'm going to go ahead and stop the stream here. So, we got our arcane denials, right, along with our energy flux, which I think is an awesome card, even if it's not worth anything. I might, if I ever get back into Match the Gathering, I might just make a blue-white deck just to use that card to mess with people, because I could see it just being used in so many different, just kind of weird situations. And there's our